All right. Good morning. It's Monday, and I've got Mario here with me. And how we doing today, brother?
I'm not really awake yet, but I'm just going to do the best I can.
Well, we have some stuff to talk about this morning. Namely, uh, we want to talk about some statements out of the mayor of Miami-Dade, but I want to hit you with a primer. Little context. So, our audience, I know, is already familiar with Alligator Alcatraz, refurbished. It was an airport, right?
Yeah.
That's been refurbished and being used as a detention center for illegal immigrants. So it's kind of their last stop before they're deported. Now there have been criticisms that the living conditions are inhumane. We get these ridiculous, oh, they're having to drink the water out of the toilets. No, that's for efficiency's sake. Prisons use these toilets where there's a sink attached to the
Yes.
to the back of it.
So all in one unit.
It's not your first choice, but the water in the toilet tank is separate from the water that you make soil in. Okay, that the water in the tank is clean water. As long as long as you've cleaned your tank, as long as you've kept your tank clean, that water's clean.
Yes, the water from the tank is gravity fed into the pot. So there is
right.
So it's a one-way street. Yes.
Yeah, it's no different than when you brush your teeth and spit in the sink. That doesn't mean that the water coming out of the sink has been spat in. The water coming out of the faucet has not magically been spat in because you spat into the sink. Which is not how shit works. So, the criticism's coming from idiots. A judge has ordered Alligator Alcatraz in Florida to wind down operations.
Right. Over a basically failure to perform the necessary environmental impact studies. Okay, for anyone who's involved in the audience who might be involved in construction, okay, or architecture, environmental impact studies are a pretty common way to slow down any type of development, right? And for sometimes that's a good thing. Okay, I mean, I don't. Where I live, I don't think we need more further developments, okay, around my community, right? But that won't stop the Florida real estate developers from trying to essentially pave over every bit of mangrove, okay, and wetland around me in their fool's quest to increase the population density to the maximum level for maximum profit.
Yeah, to pave paradise and put up a parking lot.
I was going to mention the Counting Crows song. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Not a Counting Crows song. That was a what's her face? Counting Crows remade it in 2001, but it was originally what's her face? The hippie bitch.
Tori Amos.
No, before that, Janis Joplin.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh, okay. I didn't know that.
I think I can double check, but I think that's right.
It matters not. Paradise.
Big Yellow Taxi. Oh, Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell originally.
Yeah, another hippie bitch.
I knew it was one of them hippie bitches. But yeah, so the U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams, of course, in Miami, wrote in her 82-page order late Thursday that Florida officials never sufficiently explained why an immigration detention center needed to be located in the middle of sensitive wetlands cherished by environmentalists and outdoor people.
Do I need to explain it?
You know what? I'm going to explain it.
Did you need a personal invitation, bitch? Okay.
And here's the thing. Her statement here is they never sufficiently explained. Yes, they did. They absolutely did.
It's hard to escape.
This is not a legal opinion. This is a personal opinion. No, better than it's hard to escape, right? It's hard to escape is a good and sufficient reason. More importantly, it is that the U.S. government owns an enormous amount of vacant property, of unused property. We've got empty freaking office blocks all over the country that are just sitting there doing nothing. We're keeping the power on. We're keeping the water attached. We're paying upkeep on these buildings and using them for nothing.
Especially in D.C. and Northern Virginia these days.
Yeah. So what they did in this case, there was a need for a detention facility for these hostile foreign invaders. And so instead of building a new one, which would have taken more time and cost more money, they rapidly and cheaply refurbished and repurposed an existing structure that was being left to molder and go to waste and costing the taxpayers money already. So the judge's claim, so the judge has the opinion that it was never sufficiently explained. That is her personal opinion, not a legal opinion. And it is a fallacious opinion. In fact, she is choosing to express an opinion which she must know is false. Right? You know, well, you can have a personal opinion. You know, I'm allowed to not like ice cream. No, you're not. Ice cream is amazing, and it's ridiculous to leave these buildings wasted and build a new building somewhere else. As far as the question of the environmental impact, it's already there. The facility is already there. There is no environmental impact to concern yourself with.
Right. It's already listed as an airport. Okay, meaning that it is going to be a source of pollution that would be have greater environmental impact than basically a prison. Right, because an airport deals in a lot of chemicals, a lot of fuel. Okay, which has a greater environmental impact that potentially than a prison. Also, and I mean, I would ask Judge Kathleen Williams, is her justification for demanding the government shut down this facility rooted in any kind of legal precedent or theory whatsoever, or is this literally because it's not nice? Because it's not nice in her opinion, therefore it should be shut down. Is it anything other than female hysteria driving this legal decision? No, it's not.
Correct. She needs a ride on the hysteria machine. I really need to cut some video clip of the hysteria machine so that we can bring it up from time to time with these psychotic female judges and like the mayor that we're going to get to in a minute. But before we get to that, Sergeant Major asked a question: what happens if the administration ignores the judge's order? I'm glad you asked, because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. You know, who was it? Was it Jackson that was famous for saying the judge, I've heard the judge's order, now let him enforce it? Well, here's DeSantis saying essentially that.
In South Florida at Alligator Alcatraz. I just want to say this was not something that was unexpected. This is a judge that was not going to give us a fair shake. This was preordained, very much an activist judge that is trying to do policy from the bench. This is not going to deter us. We're going to continue working on the deportations, advancing that mission. We knew that this would be something that would likely happen, and we will respond accordingly. That have already been ordered to be removed by the current system, and yet the previous administration didn't want to do anything about it. We're now in this position where we're leading the state efforts to help the Trump administration actually enforce the law and actually remove these illegal aliens from not just Florida, but from our country. And that's something that we didn't have for 4 years. And now that's something that we're absolutely on board with making sure happens going forward. And so we're not going to be deterred. We're totally in the right on this. But I would also note, because of the success of Alligator Alcatraz, there's demand for more. So I did announce that we are going to be opening another facility right outside of Jacksonville in Baker County, and we've called that the Deportation Depot. And so that is something that will be able to hold another 2,000. There's an airport close by, and so you have the processing and then the removal. Process.
I love it. She told us to close Alligator Alcatraz. Well, we're going to open a second one.
Absolutely. I mean, oh my God, the imagery. It's Florida Mussolini surrounded by 3 white men and 1 white Hispanic, and you know how they get down in Florida. Okay, all wearing brown shirts. Shameful, DeSantis.
Didn't we just cover this?
What, George Zimmerman?
Yeah.
Zimzan?
Oh no, I mean the bad optics with the brown shirts.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, we did.
So you've heard what DeSantis said. Now let's take a look in on Miami-Dade's Miami-Dade County's mayor.
I'm here at Alligator Alcatraz, and we are uplifting the courageous decision of Judge Williams from yesterday that orders the state and the federal government.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to break this down. Like, she speaks in code. Okay, this is their own language. If you ever listen to a Democrat politician, right? You probably thought to yourself, like, it's almost like it's like AI generated. Like, she uses these specific words, all right, that apparently have meaning to them, but really serve as nothing but a point of infuriation for us, right? So what Chris and I wanted to do is kind of parse this woman's speech, okay, and just kind of explain it to you. Right there, she says uplifting. Uplifting, that would be your first keyword, okay?
Well, hold on a second. Mario, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Before you get too far into that, just say, we often hear the Democrats, and not so much lately, but we used to hear it a lot. X is a dog whistle. This is a dog whistle. That's a dog whistle. Oh, when he says thugs, it's just because he wants to say the N-word. Everything's a dog whistle. That's very much how they operate. One of the constants with the left is the confession through projection, right? So, yeah. Before we break it down line by line, Mario, it's 1 minute clip. I want to play the whole clip, and then we'll go back to the beginning and go sentence by sentence.
You got it.
I'm here at Alligator Alcatraz, and we are uplifting the courageous decision of Judge Williams from yesterday that orders the state and the federal government to bring no new detainees and to shut it down within 60 days. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to the judge for being so diligent, recognizing the threats to our beautiful natural environment. I'm so grateful to the Miccosukee tribe who've always fought for this area. And I'm grateful to all of the advocates and activists who called attention to these issues, not only to the environment, but to the humanity and the lack of fair treatment, lack of access to counsel, and the deplorable conditions for people inside this facility. So thank you everyone for your advocacy, and let us hope and pray that this decision continues to move forward.
Yeah.
I'm here at...
So, yeah.
This is obvious DEI hire. She's just this woman is basically, I don't even have to look it up. If you go and look it up, you'll see that the election was between a white Republican male and don't vote for the white guy.
It's Cuban Karen is what it is. And
her entire campaign was don't vote for the white guy. That was literally her entire campaign. I guarantee it.
Yep.
So like Mario said, this sounds like it came straight out of an AI somebody sat down and typed, "Hey, the mayor needs to give a supportive speech on closing down Alligator Alcatraz following Kathleen Williams' order to do so." And the AI spit this out. Now let's go sentence by sentence.
I'm here at Alligator Alcatraz, and we are uplifting the courageous decision of Judge Williams from yesterday that orders the state and the federal government to bring no new detainees and to shut it down within 60 days.
Okay, so we get to the first period, and we've had 3 sentences strung together.
Right.
Right. And
first we have uplifting. Okay, now this is a coded word with the left. Okay, we uplift female voices, we uplift minority voices. Okay, like this is a word that they use where we are giving power back to oppressed people against the evil white man. Okay, so uplifting is a coded word right there. And also the left loves to assign courage to things that are anything but courageous, right? So courageous is a key word too. Like I wish we had the like sound effect from Metal Gear Solid, you know, like the exclamation point, like the work, you know, when you get spotted for each of these words, right? Yeah, courageous is another one. Cutting your kid's dick off is courageous. Okay, to the left, right? Inserting multiple objects up your ass in public is courageous to the left, right? They've utterly perverted the meaning of the word. So uplifting
they recently called a woman courageous. She's a porn star. And she did a social media campaign where she had sex with 1,000 men in one day.
Yeah,
and that was courageous.
Fucking goddamn, dude. Degenerate. I think that 2 different words there, people.
Yeah, and let's they use this word uplifting. Let's go Orwell a little bit for a minute. Double plus good. Uplifting. These are 2 words that mean the same thing, and they're stuck together. This is double plus good, right? Or minus good double plus, right? Double speak. Constant double speak.
Yep.
Right. So.
And yeah, we're doing this because we know that you in the audience, it's a feeling. It's something you feel. Like when you see this language, right? Or when you hear it.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russell conjugation.
It sends off
a lot of Russell
in your
conjugation
mind.
going on here.
Like, we're trying to bring that trigger, that subconscious trigger that you feel when you hear this shit. We're trying to bring that forward and try to explain it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and we've discussed Russell conjugation before. The difference between you can say the same thing about a person and make it sound very different. If you describe a person as being stubborn, resolute, or pig-headed. Those three utterances have the same technical meaning. They refer to the level of a person's resolve or commitment to a thing, but they have very different emotional connotations. And the lefties, of course, being a bunch of drug-addled academicians, are very good at using emotional language to manipulate your feeling about a thing. And that right there. We talk about Ben Shapiro using the phrase, facts don't care about your feelings. It is true that the facts do not care about your feelings. Your emotions, your feelings about a fact do not change what the fact is. But at the same time, feelings don't care about your facts. A person who is emotionally compromised will make irrational decisions without considering the facts of the matter. They count on this.
Yep. People make decisions based. The concept of like homo economicus, okay, that people are rational beings, okay, that are always making their decisions based on what would be likely the best possible outcome for them. That's not true, okay. People make decisions, based on emotion, right? And the less intelligent they are, the more emotion comes into play in their decision making. All right, so Yeah, people are not rational actors. Don't fall for that.
Right.
At Alligator Alcatraz, and we orders the state and the federal government to bring no new detainees and to shut.
Okay, let's back that up for a second. Judge Williams from yesterday that orders the state and the federal government. I'm sorry. Who exactly the hell does Judge Williams think she is?
She thinks she's a hero, is what she thinks she is.
You know,
she's a hero standing up to the evil Trump administration. She is la resistance, okay, standing up against Cheeto Hitler. All right, that's what she thinks.
So the Sergeant Major points out religious leaders have used these buzzwords for years. That's also true. Yeah. And these are, make no mistake, this is very much a religious type of movement. The entire anti-American left, very much a sociopathic. They worship Moloch.
Any group of people, okay, that use rhetoric to any capacity, okay, are going to have their own kind of key words, right? That we use as what the left would call dog whistles, like Chris, like you in your opening, okay. But for example, when we say heritage American, okay, what we mean is basically 90% white people and 10% like blacks, all right, who've been here since the beginning, all right. It is coded language for white people without us having to say white people, okay. So we do the same thing. It's just part of rhetoric.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But that's why we define terms. We want you to recognize when that coded language is being used. That's right. And frankly, I want you to recognize when we're using coded language, because there are some things that are unsayable and need to be said.
That's right.
Patrick Brown mentions the quote from Men in Black, Agent K introducing Agent J to the aliens. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. And that's correct. That's a great quote, and one that's worth knowing. We talk on occasion about the mob threshold. Everybody's got a mob threshold where there's something going on, and the number of people involved in whatever the activity is will influence you on whether or not you join in with the activity. And for a conservative, because we are liberty-minded, individualistic types, generally, our mob threshold is very, very high. Yep. There needs to be something going on that is sufficient to animate hundreds of people before we're going to get actively involved in
we have to be
action.
Yeah, we unfortunately it's pretty extreme. Like, we have to be personally suffering, all right, as a result of what the mob is protesting against, okay, to really get us involved, okay. I wish we didn't have such a high threshold, but we're a domesticated people. We're civilized people. We hate the biggest problem with white people, okay, is that we prize order to a fault. Okay, we prize order so much that we intolerate wicked injustice to levels that would seem obscene to other peoples. Okay, just because we prize order so much. That is our weakness.
Yeah. All right.
And the federal government to bring no new detainees and to shut it down within 60 days.
Okay, but before she gets much further than that, let me remind you, the Supreme Court just recently made a blanket declaration that these universal injunctions are unconstitutional, that this is an authority that these judges do not have. Now, in this case, I'm not saying that what this judge has done is a universal injunction. It's not. She has, in fact, in this case, ruled on a very specific thing, on a very specific matter and controversy. not said, hey, I've just decided that the president doesn't have the authority to kick all the transgenders out of the army or deport all the illegal aliens. And that was literally one of the universal injunctions was I'm a judge and I've just decided that the president doesn't have the authority to deport illegal aliens. It's like, what? And I'm glad that universal injunction came out because it is such a clear indicator that these activist judges are completely immured to the idea that law has meaning, right? As far as these judges are concerned, the law is whatever they say it is, and that is not the case.
Yeah.
Right. A judge is meant to interpret the law. And so there is room for the judge to determine how the law is going to be enforced. But a judge cannot say, I have decided that murder is not illegal because I feel like this victim needed to be murdered. A judge cannot just decide the law is the opposite of what the law is. And that's what's happening here is this judge is deciding for her own interests and for her own political activism that the law is the opposite of what the law actually is.
Yep.
Grateful. I'm grateful to the judge for being so diligent, recognizing the threats to our beautiful natural environment.
Right, so our environment is beautiful and natural, and this is a threat to our beautiful natural environment. I would like to hear you define what that threat is.
I will do it for her. Okay. The left, one of the left's key tactics is to ascribe violence to things that are not violent. Okay. So a decision, okay, a legal decision, speech itself, right, criticism, all of these things, or just the general implementation of executive power are all considered threats. They have to assign violence to nonviolent actions because it will trigger like that parasympathetic response within the left, within their target audience, to like fight or flight. Okay, so threat, that's your key word, and it's because, I mean, for fuck's sake, we're talking about the left that claims that like silence equals violence. Like, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Right. It's violence. Your speech is violence. In fact,
it's not enough to agree. You have to be vocal about it. Like if you,
right. In fact, if I go so far as to say I don't want some nut job, pop psych shrink to convince my son to mutilate his genitalia. In fact, I want to prevent you from doing that violence to my progeny. That is. That means that I want to genocide all transgenders. Set aside the fact that transgender is not a genetic group and therefore not open to genocide under any circumstances by definition. The fact claim being made there is directly and entirely contraventional of the fact of the case, which is I oppose your commission of violence against my progeny. And for my to oppose your violence, by their definitions, is the conduct itself of violence. That is psychotic. That's not even maddening fantasy thought. That is counterfactual, counter reality. And that's where these people live.
Correct. It's a fantasy.
I'm so grateful to the Miccosukee tribe who've always fought for this area. And
of course.
There's your land acknowledgement.
No, it's a leftist. Okay. So we can't, anytime we make a public statement, we literally can't go a full 60 seconds without sucking off some indigenous brown person. Okay. So there you go.
Grateful to all of the advocates and activists who called attention to these issues, not only to the environment, but to the humanity and the lack of fair treatment.
Wink. a lot of oofs there. Okay, she's firing them off one by one.
Yeah, she's like a freaking. She's a Russell conjugate machine gun.
Yep. You want to let her finish?
Do you want to address any more of those directly?
I do. Let her finish her sentence.
Okay.
air treatment, lack of access to counsel, and the deplorable conditions for people inside this facility. So thank you everyone for your.
Okay.
Lack of access. All right. This is another key leftist like shibboleth, right? By declaring a lack of access to whatever resources that people need, it creates the perception in the leftist mind that we live in a system of institutional racism, institutional barriers against brown or black bodies, etc. Like you can start stacking these Russellisms that Chris speaks of, like on a foundation of something like lack of access. So what they mean by lack of access, what she means is that they're oppressed, okay? Because they should be able to use up taxpayer-funded legal services to their heart's content while they're being incarcerated, okay? In her mind, that is justified. And then deplorable, obviously, would be that. This is really Hillary. Come on, it's Cuban Hillary. In fact, look at her.
Oh yeah,
it's Cuban Hillary.
Yeah, she's one set of freaking flowery curtains away from a pantsuit that puts her in step with Mao. And yeah, the lack of access to counsel, they don't get counsel.
Yeah.
Right. Let's not forget, we're not talking about, okay, we found all the Mexicans in this town and we're going to round them up and stick them in Alligator Alcatraz and go through one by one and figure out which ones are legal and which ones are illegal. No, the entire inmate population of Alligator Alcatraz is consisted of people who have already been ordered removed and are waiting their flight out of the country.
That's right.
On the order of removal.
That's right.
They
had their process.
Past that.
They had their day in court, okay? No matter how brief it was or however many of them were packed into the room to get a general sentencing. They had their process. Now is the execution of that order.
And this, I mean,
you bitch.
Oh, this is unfair and inhumane. Listen, honey.
Yeah, humanity.
We're talking about people who violated a sovereign border. These are not just criminals. These are not mere misdemeanors. These are war criminals. These are foreign invaders. That we are not executing them on site is more humane than they deserve.
That's right. That's right. Well, see, with the left, the humanity, it's that psychotic universalism, okay, that you get from the left, and also from basically churches that borderline on heresy, okay, also had this universalist problem, where essentially it's like the ultimate leveling process where any single human being on earth has to be exactly equal in capacity and in value to any other person on earth, okay? We talked about in-group, out-group preference. We talk about that a lot on this program. Universalism is the most extreme form of out-group preference.
Yes. And that ties into the ethical and moral philosophies of utilitarianism, the greatest good to the greatest number,
right?
And it really is this simple. Utilitarianism is evil on the face of it.
And the deplorable conditions for people inside this facility. So thank you everyone for your advocacy, and let us hope and pray that this decision continues to move forward.
I just hope these are not people who pray. Okay.
For sure.
This is not a person who prays. Biden told us over and over again that he was a devoted Catholic, right? Yeah. A super pro-abortion devoted Catholic.
Right. Who basically the sins of lust. Okay, lust. I mean, just name them. The only one perhaps he wasn't fully mired into was gluttony. All right, but until you see him in an ice cream parlor.
Right.
But yeah, Joe Biden was an apostate. Okay, an apostate. That's the word for it. And apostates, well, they don't get the rope; they get the stake.
Okay, so let me switch this over to the. It's funny that that we should be having this now because we've got this wonderful article.
Yes. It's the continuing devolution of the leftist worldview, the leftist paradigm that we've been trapped under for the last 5 years, ever since George Floyd courageously asphyxiated on the streets of Minneapolis, okay, to lead the revolution for his black and brown brothers and disabled trans LGBTQ plus peoples, okay. Ever since he led that revolution and defeated evil white man, we have been living under this passive aggressive tyranny, where language is considered violence, and that language, that violence of language, is used almost exclusively against us. Sorry, I'm kind of freeform ranting this morning. Okay, I've just finished my first cup of coffee, so I'm starting again.
Think Tank urges Dems to drop these 45 terms that turn off normies. Okay, so here, bring your camera back up, Mario. Before we get too far down this article, let's talk about this this phenomenon. You've seen it over and over again, probably most notably with during the Russiagate hoax, the Trump the Trump character assassination impeachment processes. You saw it over and over with, "Oh, the walls are closing in, the end is nigh." But you'd hear the phrase, "the walls are closing in," from every left-wing host, right? His days are numbered from every left-wing host, right? When the Christine Blasey Ford, that obvious liar, was trying to impugn the character of Justice Kavanaugh, who I wasn't a big fan of for so many other reasons, but they brought her in. They found this woman who said, if you pay me a big chunk of money and help me get a book deal, I'll lie under oath and say that I was raped by this man that I never actually met more than once or twice when we were teenagers, right? You heard when that whole thing was going on, you heard this term over and over again. What was the term, Mario?
Indelible in the hippocampus. So the part of the brain
indelible in the hippocampus.
The part of the brain that formulates memory. Yeah.
But what was the line, the tagline from every talking head that mentioned her in the left-wing media? They said it over and over again.
She was a hero. She was courageous.
Credible.
Credible. Okay.
They said it over and over again. Judge Kavanaugh is credibly accused of. Yeah. Now, why suddenly did they have to say credibly accused? Oh, because going into the Kavanaugh hearings, they had just ruined the credibility of all rape victims, of all actual rape victims, with the hashtag Me Too movement. The Pound Me Too movement told us all that, hey, young man, you better not even see women in public, because these are the rules now.
Yep.
If you looked at her, you raped her, and you will be treated accordingly. And so they had to start throwing around that extra language, credibly accused.
And it also, for like an underclass, the criminal underclass, okay, it would have created a sentiment where, well, if you plan on doing anything untowards towards a woman, it's going to be rape anyway, so you might as well rape a bitch.
Yeah,
okay?
You might as well just go all the way.
Yeah.
And of course, that, like, before the whole Me Too movement, Mario, remember getting freaking sexual harassment and rape prevention training
Sexual
briefings?
harassment, panda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember getting those briefings in California where we were told over and over again. And remember, guys, it doesn't even have to be that you forced her. If y'all were drinking, if you had a glass of wine together at dinner, she can't consent. It's like, now hold up a minute.
Yeah,
I had
there was
glass
a
of wine too.
there was a law passed in California around the time that we were stationed there. We're talking like 2006 to 2008, right? Where if the woman is intoxicated, she is incapable of consenting, and it is de facto rape. Okay, if you have sex with an intoxicated woman, right? So this came out, and I kind of like I turned to my my girlfriend at the time, who would go on to become my ex-wife, right, and mother of my children. And I'm like, I put up my head like high five, like, dude, straight rape, B.
Yeah, there was. Let me see if I can find the poster that went up with that. There was this infamous poster that went up, and it describes this couple out on a date, and it says that they're both drinking, and then they have sex. So she can't consent, and therefore he raped her. It's like, no, hold on a minute. Okay, I don't say. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for the poster, but it's wait. They were both drinking. So why isn't why doesn't he have? Does Homeboy just not have any agency? He has zero agency.
Correct.
Right? It was never a question of whether or not he could consent. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. We're just always DTF. You know, men are never opposed. Shut the fuck up. But I say all that to kind of give a little primer before we dig into this. Stuff like this, the think tank urges Dems to drop these 45 terms to turn off normies. This is something that they're studying because people are starting to cotton on to the use of language in this way. And they recognize, you know, that when a Democrat, for example, says tolerance, what they mean is tolerance for everything that is not normal and decent. When they say inclusion, what they mean is exclude white men, exclude straight white men. Right.
You want to talk about dog whistles, okay?
Yeah.
They've got a lot of dog whistles for people like you and I, Chris. All right. In fact, it's almost like it's the foundation of their entire worldview is the opposition to me, whether I'm even attempting to play their game or not. They decided I'm playing. Okay. This was a game I chose to play in my first act of environmental violence of being born a white male.
Right.
That's how they think. Like it's
yeah. So a left-leaning thing there have been a bunch of Democrat left-leaning activists who have argued that white men should be white baby boys should be killed at birth because being a white man is an act of violence.
Yeah,
Jesus.
The socialist movement in the 1960s, okay, and 70s, actively said that.
Mm-hmm. And that is still
unironically.
That is a sentiment that is still shared by many of them today.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
So third way is far from the first to warn leftists that their language is off-putting. Bill Maher has repeatedly pummeled them, and Vice President J.D. Vance has too, telling Laura Ingraham, I mean, look, the autopsy for the Democrats, some free political advice from the President of the United States is stop sounding like crazy people. So their communique says, oh, Jesus, how far down the article do we have? Here it is.
There we go.
So they're told to stop using these words, right? Privilege. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Privilege, violence, as in environmental violence.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm talking about. The use of, the idea of ascribing violence to things that are inherently not violent, okay? To twist and pervert the meaning of violence to guarantee or encourage an actual violent reaction to nonviolent activity. That's the point of that.
So these are the big ones. You see, and okay, can I fit them all? Yeah. Okay, you got privilege, violence, dialoguing, othering, triggering, microaggression, assault, invalidation, progressive stack, centering, safe space, holding space, body shaming.
Yeah. Microaggression is another it's another like macro term, okay, for these people, where once again the things that are basically looking at someone wrong is assault in their eyes, okay?
Right.
So if you basically it's meant to trap you, the straight white male, okay, to trap the straight white male in a social condition where like he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, right? Where there is no path forward through society other than constant like religious tears, like supplication, all right, towards the messaging, right? Because you are a second class, dare I say, you're like third class. You're a Dalit, okay? You're an American untouchable in their eyes.
So the seminar room language, third way says these words tell people I'm smarter and more concerned about important issues than you. The group warns that when we use words people don't understand, studies show that the part of their brain that signals distrust becomes more active. So they're coming to the right conclusion for the wrong reasons. These words tell people I'm smarter and more concerned about important issues than you. No, that's not what it tells people. What it tells me when I hear people use these words is the thing that they want me to hear is that they're smarter than me and they are more concerned about important issues than me.
That's right.
Right. That's what they want me to think. What I hear when I hear people use these words is you're an illiterate shill. You're an idiot. You're a dangerous sociopath. You have been infected with the congenital disease of sociopathy. You actually caught psychopathy the way that some people catch a cold.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's religiously coded language because it is their religion. Okay. What it says to me when a leftist uses terms like these and speaking to me is that they're an acolyte. Okay. They're an acolyte of their religion, which is leftism. Yeah.
An adherent.
That's right.
Yeah. And then they've got this other block of language, subverting norms, systems of oppression, critical theory, cultural appropriation, postmodernism, Overton window, heuristic, existential threat, climate, planet, democracy, the economy.
Yeah.
But just real quick, existential threat to the planet, to the climate. Let me just
democracy, our sacred democracy.
Well, specifically the planet and the environment. Every person who has made claims about existential threats to the climate or the planet, outside of discussing complex weapons platforms, right? Your environmentalists, they have been wrong about literally every claim they've made. Every claim they've made has been 180 degrees opposed to what turned out to be true for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right.
That said, uranium core 20 Mike munitions. Yeah, that's really
a threat to the environment.
That's really fucking bad for the environment. Okay, so we'll give you that one. But I think I like the fact that Overton window is included here, right? It's like they're trying to sneak in some words that they don't want the Democrats to use because they know it would be a losing proposition for the Democrats to even bring that up. Okay.
Well, it's worse than a losing proposition. They're scared to death that some of their people are going to learn this concept.
Exactly. Same with a heuristic. Another one that's actually that's a good word. Okay, but the left doesn't like it because it is heuristic means like you're learning something through like trial and error. You know what I mean? Like you're learning it through empirical observation, and which means reality, and that reality. Reality does not support the leftist worldview. Okay, so yeah, would
And
you
then
agree?
these words:
Would you agree,
radical, radical transparency, small d democracy, barriers to participation, stakeholders, the unhoused, food insecurity, housing insecurity, person who immigrated. Okay, when you say person who immigrated,
You're
I
a
already know you're lying.
You're a murderer of speech. You absolute murderer of speech and truth.
There's even if we're talking about a person, when you say person who immigrated, even if I give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you're not specifically talking about a hostile foreign invader, we actually have a word. It's immigrant.
Yeah.
The word is immigrant.
Insecurity as well is another word that they like to tag onto things, right? Because it once again creates like this like worldview of oppression, right? That people who suffer from insecurity in any capacity, right, in any regard, like they're concerned about food insecurity, housing insecurity, etc. One thing they're not concerned about is actual security, which is why Democrat cities are violent shitholes, right? Where you're in danger of going out, or going out at night could be a death sentence, right? That's the type of insecurity that the right is concerned about, right? But for the left, no, not at all. It's basically about what can we label as an insecurity. Therefore, it requires a government solution, which means spending your money on other people. That's what their concept of insecurity is for. And
you ready for this one? On gender orientation correctness. Third way says this jargon tells normies your views on traditional genders and gender roles are at best quaint. Let me tell you something before we look at these words. Your views on traditional gender roles are correct.
Yep.
But here's the language that they're saying they should stop using. And this is birthing person / inseminated person. I believe if someone had called my wife an inseminated person,
I was going to ask you that.
They might not keep their teeth.
Yeah. Did you ever turn to Fee and call her an inseminated person during the pregnancy of any of
you? In fact, I might have my entire facial structure might have a passing and alarming resemblance to a cast iron skillet.
Yeah. This is pretty grim. It's pretty grim. It's like inseminated person that you were put away wet, like you're still dripping. Like what are you?
Jesus. It's not the kind of word that you think about inseminated. Are you sure the thing you're talking about is a person?
Yeah. Yeah, this is like
that's the language you use when you're talking about collecting a donor sample from a stud, so that you can breed your cattle.
Exactly, it's animal husbandry. Okay, like if you walk up to a woman and tell her that you're going to inseminate her, like that, you might as well just put on like the long glove, like pull out the turkey baster.
Now, chest feeding. This is the one where these sociopaths were saying that, if a pair of men want to get married and then purchase a child through the human trafficking channels, if they take their shirts off and lie naked with the child on their chest and give it a bottle, that's the same as a woman breastfeeding her naturally born child. That's where this language comes from, and that's what I want you to. And that's what I want you to see when you hear somebody say the word chest feeding. I want you to see a man who bought a child from a flesh trafficker
Yep. And
is feeding that child a bottle on his naked chest in order to pervert the child from the
oftentimes having purchased like an implement to resemble the breasts that he is loading the formula like into. Like this gender orientation correctness, this is some of the most egregious of the leftists' abuse of language and reality. Cisgender, another one. Like cis means like within. It's the opposite of trans. All right, trans means outside of. Cis means within. All right, within the boundary. Heteronormative, like, dude. The point of these words off-put the normies, okay, if you will. Like, for example, Chris, let's say you ran across your neighbor at the gas station one day, okay? And by neighbor, I mean like just the next property owner, because with Chris's neighbor is going to be like way over there, right?
Yeah.
So, because Chris got land, so you meet him at the gas station, just shooting the shit with him, and then you kind of bring up your son. You know what I mean? Like your son. He learned how to shoot a gun, or he hit a home run. You know what I mean? Like something like that just comes up casually in conversation. And then your neighbor says to you, don't you think that's like heteronormative conditioning to say that about your son? Like, how do you respond, Chris?
So here's the thing. I could make the argument that yes, that is heteronormative conditioning, and that's a good thing. But that's not the argument I'm going to go with. Here's what I'm going to go with. If you use the language of normalizing things, if you say something needs to be normalized, I don't care what it is. I don't care what the thing is that you're saying needs to be normalized. There is a key fact that needs to be understood in this context. If you believe that a thing needs to be normalized, that means that the thing is not normal.
Yeah. Correct.
It's that simple. So when they use this language and they say something, oh, that's just from your outdated heteronormative. No. Heterosexuality is normal.
Yeah. Pit Daddy says, but no one says that. Yes, that's the point. That's the entire point of the article and of the Democrat think tank trying to counsel the wayward left, right, on how they treat people, how they treat reality, if you will. Because let's be honest, I mean, language is one of the only ways that we have to effectively describe our reality. Okay, language is sacred. That's why we have a First Amendment. When you poison language, when you corrupt language, you're a fucking heretic.
Yeah, language is sacred. And that is why these apostates profane it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Racial.
Here, go up real quick.
Okay.
LGBTQIA plus. Good job. Good job. They finally said it. They finally said the alphabet soup nonsense is instantly off-putting. Canada's version of that is even more egregious. But
yeah,
it's Canada.
Yeah, because they. Oh, there's the two spirits. They're not the same as bisexual or transgender people. They're Two spirit was a euphemism within the First Nations language for fags, basically,
which is funny because it was
okay. These Latinx, BIPOC, allyship, intersectionality. Minoritized communities.
What? I'm a minoritized community. You made me a minority. Does that not make me a minoritized community?
This one, Latinx, this one never really got any traction.
It was hated from inception. Okay.
Yes. Primarily by the exact people who it purports to describe.
That's right. Because it just sounds gay. It sounds gay as AIDS. All right, Latinx. Imagine being a grown ass man and calling yourself Latinx. Jesus.
Right. BIPOC is the what is that? The brown and indigenous people of color.
Anyone,
you know what I hear when I hear somebody say people
male.
of color?
Anyone but
you
a
know
white
what I hear
male
when
is
I
what
hear
BIPOC
somebody
is.
say people of color, Mario? Because I speak several Romance languages as well. I just hear colored people.
Colored people? Yeah.
Oh, no, we don't say colored people anymore. We say people of color. Are you impaired?
Yep.
And the answer, of course, is yes. They're impaired.
Yep.
Here's another one.
Also, BIPOC is a terrifying word because it is literally in a word, you are othering white males. Okay.
Yep.
So it basically is a catch-all for everyone but a white male. A perfect way to create like a dialectic, right? For the total simplification of reality, right? Total simplification of society, and that's like that's the building block to create actual violence from. So yeah, BIPOC is a horrifying word. It's racist as fuck.
Yeah. Crime talk. Third Way warns that these terms tell normies that the criminal is the victim is an afterthought. Oh, yes.
Justice involved that's a good one.
And it's actually worse than that. It's actually, justice involved, carceration. I don't even, psychopathy. There's a word for you.
Madness and stupidity.
Justice involved. Because when you use the word justice involved, you tell me that the plaintiff and the defendant are morally identical.
Right. It's an equivalency. It's a leveling.
And exactly. But this doesn't tell normies that the criminal is the victim and the victim is an afterthought. It tells the normies that you are actively supporting the criminal because the criminal is your faith militant. That's what especially black and brown minority criminals, who are the majority of violent criminals in this country, they have enjoyed unparalleled support by activist groups like, Kamala Harris raising bail money for Black Lives Matter rioters to get them out of prison on charges for everything up to and including murder.
Yep.
Right. They are the faith militant of the left. So it's not that this is another one where the think tank gets it wrong. The think tank thinks that when normal human beings hear these words, that they think that you mean the criminal is the victim and the victim is an afterthought. No. We think that that's what you want us to hear. But what we actually hear is you are pro-criminal.
Yeah. Yep. It's like when you say you're pro-choice, you can say that, but the thought that comes to mind is you're pro-killing babies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yep. So yeah, so it's good. I guess the left is attempting to recover. I don't know what's going to happen on the midterms. To be honest, seems so far away. But I tell you what, it's going to be critical.
It is
critical. It's going to be. I hope women aren't having a bad day. All right, next November. Fucking A, man.
You know what? We should start really pushing products, going into November next year. You gentlemen, you need to open your wallets, open your hearts, open your wallets, and prepare to give maximally to the important political fund of buying chocolates for your women. It's just we just need to start a campaign where we go around the country giving chocolate to women before the midterms. And hey, feel better? Feel pretty good, right, baby?
Yep. And if you got some extra dick to sling, go ahead and sling it. Okay, everything. It's all in effort, all in. Okay.
Yeah, boys, you need to be out there laying more pipe than Western lumber.
That's right.
Make sure they're all in a good mood.
That's right. Well,
I think that's all I've got for this morning,
Mario.
Mario.
For an hour. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, yep. That's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what we intended to do for this program. So I'm glad it worked out. Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching this morning, guys. Y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Ciao. Yep.
An almost perfect show, except for the shitty thumbnail. I had a little trouble this morning with the with some of the rendering process. It just wasn't done in time.